Day three, I thought was a really good day. It was, when you're putting more information in and, you're still getting a good level of execution, it's very pleasing to see. So I'm really been very happy with where these guys are. I think mentally they're still very, very strong, if it was still the first day. That's what I like. It's not, it's 3 days into it. There's still a lot of excitement. There's still a lot of, I guess, them thinking about the prospects of the season. And so the team is really in a good place from a mental standpoint. So we're building on that. So this will be day 4 tomorrow. We'll be in some shoulder pads tomorrow. So we'll get a little bit more banging. Hopefully these guys will just continue to try to take care of each other from a health standpoint with getting treatment while they can. And those are the things that kind of set you back when you don't start taking care of yourself and you go through all these practices. And I think our guys are understanding what that looks like. So it's a really solid day. I thought the quarterbacks looked pretty impressive, both of them, making good decisions. I didn't see any poor decisions today, and good throws. Guys are making plays on the ball, and defense is making a few plays with tip balls, becoming interceptions, which is just good too. They should be celebrating in those circumstances too. So really good day. I was really pleased.
Was there any thought of moving indoors because of the air quality?
That did. It did, because I was concerned when I left the building. I kind of walked down around 9 o'clock and I saw how gray and I can even smell the smoke today more than the other days that we've had to this point, and I was concerned about that. But I talked with Andrew, and he's been keeping a monitor. He said early in the morning it was under 100, whatever they measure the air quality. And then at the start, we were like at 120 or 130, and I was like, wow, it kind of blew up there pretty quick. So we were concerned about that, but it wasn't at the point where we needed to come inside, so we stayed outside.
You had a little bit of a mash unit there on the O-line during spring ball. I think Phillips taking a little while to get back. Casey Roddick and Chance Lytle, have those guys been able to get back in the mix?
Chance he's the one that's in the mix. He's been practicing. He looks good. He's still probably not 100%, but he's clear to practice, and we're going to really be smart with his reps as we go forward. But he is actually out there and practicing. And I think with Casey missed most of the spring because of the COVID issue, and then with the things that he was dealing with from that standpoint. He just was cleared just the day prior of camp. So it took that lengthy time to get cleared. So he's transitioning his time into play. So he's not quite practicing in any of the team reps. He's doing individual, and he's doing some work on the side with our strength coaches. But in terms of those guys, was a mass unit in the spring. They are back. Some of them are at different levels of being back, but they are working their way back.
Last year at outside linebacker opposite Carson Wells, you guys took a bit of a committee approach with a number of guys cycling in. Joshua Gustav, Jamar Montgomery, Guy Thomas. Is there an opportunity heading into this season for one guy to maybe see the lion's share of the snaps, or could you envision it being more of a committee deal again this year?
That's a great question, and I think it's really up to that group in terms of who wants to take it. We think we're confident that we have the quality work of really good players in those spots, but it is a challenging and very competitive situation for them, because if they want the job, they got to be consistent, much like what Carson is, and really compete within that group, because all three of those guys were counting on playing, but none of them has separated themselves enough to warrant for him to be the mainstay, right? So really, I like it, but whoever wants to, like you're asking, they need to have the most consistency and the most production and to match what Carson's doing on the other side. If it doesn't quite add up that way, then we'll just continue to have the rotation. But it's a good situation, because they've all gotten better. Joska and Guy's he's healthy and he's back from his his surgery, and he's getting transitioned in and he's getting reps. Jamar had a really good spring. He got a little bit dinged towards the end of spring with a concussion, but he was having a really good spring. So all three of those guys have great qualities, but no one's taken the job yet. So it's really up to them.
You said Makai, I know, missed the end of spring.
Mm-hmm.
How's he doing?
Doing good. Yeah.
How's that group kind of, Makai and Christian obviously were the two last year. How's that group behind? So Makai and then the rest.
I've been pleased where Makai is. You know, he worked hard this summer. You know, he's dealing with some ailments, and wasn't anything surgically. It was just getting ready and doing some tendonitis and things like that. And he looks good. He's very competitive. Christian had a really good summer as well. We got those three, and then we have Tyron Taylor, who had some time in the spring. Really was coming on in the spring, and he looks good right now. And we got the two other guys, the other two freshmen that came in this summer. They're doing really well, So, Kalen and Nico, they're both very competitive, and they're in the mix. And Nigel Bethel's had a good spring too. So we have probably, Brian, more depth now than what we had a year ago, where we were just concerned about who we were going to play, at corner. I think now we have at least a solid 3 deep on both sides.
Karl, I know you've said in the past that early on into camp, it's not uncommon for the defense to be a little bit more proficient than the offense.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the case at this point in time, or has it been a little bit more even between the offense and D?
I would say it was that way in the spring, and then the offense was making some plays and kind of gaining some ground on them. Right now, it seems pretty even, and I do like that because there's give and take on both sides. Defense came up with a couple turnovers today, which I like. Offense had a few plays today, which I like. So we're about pretty close to even in terms of that part of it, and that's what we want. We want good give and take on both sides, keep it competitive. We think our potential is really for us to be a very solid football team at the start of this season, and hopefully getting better as we continue to progress.
Who forced the turnovers, if you're willing to tell us?
Who forced the turnovers? One was a tip ball, and I think so. I can't remember who the defensive lineman was, because it was a tip ball at the line of scrimmage, and I think Steele Dubar had the interception. So he had one of them, and then I think Anthony Lyle was the one that had another interception. I think that was in a 7-on-7 drill. So we're in the right places, and that's when when your defense is getting better, is when they start to be around the football and the ball's not caught, whether it was a juggled catch that the receiver missed, and defensive backs in the right spot. That was kind of how Anthony Lyles was. So we're getting better, definitely getting better.
Chris Miller's kind of had a rough go at it here with the injuries. Have you had to kind of work on his morale? How's he doing?
Absolutely not. I mean, we're transitioning him into full speed play, but he's getting a lot of reps, and he knows our system. He's when he's on the field, he makes plays. So there's that lack of confidence or any wariness from that standpoint. He's been doing really well. He's not cleared for full contact yet, but he's been able to do the 7-on-7s and some of the teamwork, and he's making plays when he's around the ball. So I'm very pleased where he's at.
And Mark Perry, another safety. What are the expectations for him this season?
Well, we have high expectations for all those guys. If they step on the field, we expect them to make plays. And Mark had a good spring. A lot of those guys, he's one of those guys. I think he did make a big jump from where he was in the fall. So we expect him to continue to grow and to build, what he was able to do this spring. Ilu's been a really solid player for us. He's been very dependable and always doing the right things and getting people and helping people getting lined up. So, we feel good about where those guys are. We have more depth this year than we had a year ago. We have a couple young players that are trying to get in the mix, but I do feel that that year 2 going into with our current guys that played last year, they've gotten a lot better. They're getting where they're savvy veterans. They're getting close.
Has it been easier for your guys really on both sides of the ball to learn the playbook compared to last year?
I would say no, because last year we gave them just a very generic. Remember we had that shortened season, and I didn't know when we were going to training camp until like a week before we were going to training camp, and we had to decide on doing probably about 30-40% of what we normally would do. So I would say now that we've had a full off season, we had training, we had spring, we had summer, we're throwing the whole enchilada at them. So it's not easier. No, it's definitely not easier. But these guys have a great feel of what our system feels and looks like, and I think they're digesting the information as we move forward, and they're doing a pretty good job. All right. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.